All right, so we've looked into the idea of using decimation, the decimation modifier, as a tool to be able to take the vertex count down, and decided that's not the best option in this case. So what I'd like to do is deal with remeshing. Now, there's a couple of different ways to get at that, but before we do, let's just take a look at this. Okay, this is ventricles from inside of a human brain. Um, they come from DICOM files, which were created from a CT or MRI scan. And basically, when that happens, you're basically taking pictures of different slices or levels of the given part of the body that's being scanned. And then, in essence, what I did was an ITK snap. I basically stitched these images back together to create a three-dimensional form. So that's where sometimes you get this stepped look that'll happen. Now that said, let's take a look also. I'm going to tab into this so we can see the geometry. All right, it's not bad. I mean, that's actually pretty consistent geometry. That's workable. Nothing to be ashamed of there. But it's definitely good to get a sense of what we're looking at before we start or do anything, so that when we examine any changes we made, we can decide if we made it better or worse. So what I'm going to do is one way to get it remeshing is I can go to the modifier properties, the wrench, and I can go up to add modifier, and there is a remesh option. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And there's a few different ways to do it. Generally speaking, I just do voxel. That's usually what I do. Now, right here, there's a slider where we can tell it what the voxel size should be. Now, a voxel, if you're not familiar, basically is a three-dimensional pixel. It takes up three dimensions. So the smaller the voxel is, the less space it takes up, and the finer detail you get. But that also means more vertices. So if I take this zero point 0.1 voxel size, and if I were to make it smaller and say make it a 0.05, instead of having the 2.196 million that I have, it would probably take me up to like 5 million vertices, somewhere in that range. And that's the exact opposite direction as what I want to go. So I'm going to take the voxel size and make it larger. And I want to be aggressive here. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna make it a 1. All right. And now we see that it's estimating. Oh, and by the way, when I'm doing these modifiers, rather than being in edit mode, it's better to be, because when I'm in edit mode, it's just showing what it is. I need to be in, to get those estimates, I need to be in object mode. So now it's estimating that this would take me down to 21,000, to almost 22,000 vertices. That's a nice improvement. I'm just curious if I do 1.5. Now it's getting me like 9,500 vertices. It's starting to get a pretty, the look is starting to get kind of low poly looking. Um, but maybe that can be okay. Um, Maybe I'll take it back down just a bit. Take it down to 1.4. Okay. And now if I just go ahead and decide that I want to go with this, I can go here and I can apply. After I've done that, let's just take a look. I'm going to tab in and let's take a look at the geometry. So it remeshed things, and you'll see that the geometry is much cleaner. I've got some nice quads happening here, so that if I decide there's other things I need to do, or maybe I only want half the vertex, it's going to clean up you know if there's any processing along those lines that I want to do, it'll clean up a lot nicer for me. I mean, case in point, if I go into wireframe mode and box select and decide that I only want half of it, oh, I should have been in, hold on, I should have been in X-ray mode when I did that, shouldn't I? So let's try that again. And much cleaner look. I mean, so that's one way to get at remeshing. Now, in a minute, we'll come back and we'll look at other ways that I can remesh.